Welcome to Real Talks, where inspiring women share their stories on relationships, growth, and life to empower you to love yourself and others better. My name is Neira, and I'll be your host on this journey. So grab yourself a cup of hot matcha or cacao, buckle up, and let's explore together. Hi, Sophie. I'm really excited to have you here today in this podcast episode. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us more about who you are and what you do?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Neira, for the opportunity. I'm Sophie. I'm a psychologist and shamanic coach. I'm the founder of the Shamanic Concept. And in my work, I do healing with people on the soul level. And I've been doing that since 3 years already, stepping into the fourth year. So I'm still on the beginning of the journey. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I do. And obviously shamanism. So everything I do is.
That's beautiful. So you said you're doing this since 3 years, but I think your healing experience, your personal healing experience and experience with shamanism, it's much longer.
Yeah, definitely. I think I started this journey when I was 15, 16, and I was always super interested in personal experiences or personal education. I read a lot of books. I started meditating super early. I remember before I went to school, I set up a little altar and I would meditate for a whole hour before going to school. And then after school, coming from school, continue meditating. So yeah, I was always super interested in just discovering who I am and overcoming personal obstacles and personal wounds. And then when I was, I think 19, I met my shaman in Munich. That was when I lived back in Munich, because initially I wanted to do almost like a psychotherapy to overcome some traumatic experiences that I had, a breakup as well. And I was about to study psychology. So I thought, okay, I can go to a psychologist or psychiatrist because I'm already on the way of doing that, of learning that by myself. And then when I went there, it was just not superficial, but because I was doing already so much for so many years before that, I felt like I already know that. I need something more. I need something deeper. And that's when I looked into alternative ways of healing. And that's when I discovered my shaman Michiko in Munich. And that's when I started the shamanic journey. So on the shamanic journey, I think now I'm 31, so it's been a few years.
What a beautiful story. I have so many questions right now just out of this story. Let's maybe start from what you said about meditation, because I think it's really fascinating. You said you were already meditating for an hour. And I remember couple of years ago when I started following you, you were talking about this on your Instagram. And what fascinated me that you said that you were meditating for hours, but then you switched to doing just shamanic journeys and shamanic breathwork. And this is something that I also personally experienced when I discovered breathwork, that as much as I still love meditation and still sometimes just sit for an hour because it became part of who I am and my personal development journey, but breathwork is so much more powerful than even just sitting for an hour for meditation. Can you maybe say a little bit something about that, how you see it?
Yeah, I'm with you on this perspective. Meditating, it's amazing to calm down the ego and to discover what is beyond the ego. So, what is beyond our thoughts, and to discover, oh, hey, I'm a soul in a body doing a human experience. And I feel like once you really understood that on an embodied level, then you can work with that. And that's why I like to do breathwork or shamanic journeys, because then you can journey to different worlds, to different realities, to communicate with the spirits, to enforce a deeper level of healing and to deepen the human experience in this life. When I was meditating, I was becoming too spiritual. So I couldn't enjoy the human experience anymore because I was so focused on like not sacrificing the joys of being human, but on, okay, I need to wear, I don't know, linen clothes and like always have to be centered and just always stay calm. And I feel like obviously that's amazing. We're here to enjoy life. We're here to go out, to dance, to enjoy, to travel, and to enjoy being human. And I feel like when I was meditating, I lost that because I was so much on this, oh, I have to be like the yogi. And when I did and shamanic journeys, I could feel that my life or my human life deepened because I found something where I could like heal wounds, like really heal wounds without talking about it, without going to therapy for 10 years, almost like the shortcut, if you want to say so, and then really enjoy life. And still understanding, obviously, that we are a soul and a human body, but we're here to enjoy that. We're here to make the most out of that. And that's when the joy came back, I feel like.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And that's also my experience in your training, in your shamanic training now. And this is exactly what happened for me also. Then I understood, hey, I don't have to be a certain way to be spiritual. And as you said before, like dress in a certain way. I think a lot of people, when they first find spirituality, they need this like new spiritual identity in some way because you want to show, and it's part of the ego, as you said. And it's totally okay to go through that. But at some point, then you just realize, no, I just want to live this life and enjoy. And you leave all of that trauma and pain behind you and just are ready to express, to enjoy. And I think you always say also, say yes to life. It's really inspiring every time when I see it. Like, exactly, this is what it is. Say yes to life and create, enjoy, see the beauty in everything. Yeah.
100%. For me, life is all about saying yes, being brave, doing what scares you, look at the dark patterns and overcome them and see the challenges as something beautiful that's here to help you grow and help you create the best life for you. And that's why we're here, to live the best possible life that we can live without being drawn back into the past, without our like little backpack of what we used to carry around, and just enjoy while we are here and just say yes to life, to opportunities, and just to be free, to be a little human being enjoying this short time on earth.
And for somebody who never experienced shamanism, because we talked before about shamanic journeys, shamanic breathwork, can you explain a little bit like why is this different? Because we talked also about the therapy and how it really is a shortcut compared to, I've been myself 4 years in therapy, and as much as I'm grateful for that experience, it was right for that moment of my personal life experience, but it's still, I feel like the journeys or all the spiritual work, it's like just a different layer of healing. But how would you describe this to somebody who never had it in life?
How to best describe it is, let's say you have a broken heart. So someone broke your heart and you have a terrible breakup. So you feel the heartbreak, like literally you feel it in your body, in your heart, right? And when you go to a psychologist, for example, and in psychology, you try to understand why it happened, what you could do the next time to prevent it, like strategies on the mind level to really understand it, to comprehend it, to analyze it, right? But still, after going home, you still feel that your heart is broken. You feel it in your body. Nothing has changed. And now you understand why it maybe happened or what you could do the next time to prevent it, which is great. Obviously, I feel like healing always starts with understanding. That's the first step. But then psychology stops and says, okay, now go and do it on your own and go try to not make it or not try that it doesn't happen again. But you still feel that your heart is broken. And that's when shamanism comes in place. I feel like it's the second step that you can take to really heal. Obviously, it's important to understand why it happened, because there's a lot of healing in that. But at the end of the day, it just happened and you want to overcome it and you want to heal it. And you want to heal it not by always going back into the same situation, but by releasing the trauma, releasing the wounds, healing the little heart, and just in that moment without always looking back and analyzing the past, because yeah, sure, you understand it, but nothing changes because you still feel heartbroken. So for example, you would do a cleansing ritual, you would do a heart healing ritual, and then because you work with energy, you feel a difference, you feel it, and then when you feel the difference, you don't have the need to always understand or to overanalyze the situation like that, because you just move deeper. And I feel like analyzing, that's the ego that's here, and then healing and feeling something is just a deeper level. And when you, with shamanism, for example, with rituals, certain techniques like shamanic journeys, you start with this level, and then you don't have the need to step on this level again because you already healed it. And I feel like that is the shortcut, that you step right into healing, and you always feel it after every session, after every ritual that you do, after every shamanic journey that you do. You feel the difference. And that is why it's such a shortcut, because people feel it and they don't need to circle around it for hours and months and years. And yeah, so I think that would be a short summary of that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I'm right now in a startup community in Malaysia, and I'm surrounded with tech people who are so intelligent, like really highly intelligent people. They have all of the information. When I talk with them, I feel so inspired because they know, they have the knowledge, they have the understanding, they read the books, they listen to podcasts, they've been to therapy, and on the logical level, it's clear. They can make a presentation of their past and of their, most of us already have the information, and we can map out, oh, this happened because of this childhood event, and like everything's there. But when it comes really to healing, then to feeling and healing on that level, on the energy level that described, I think this is lacking in the world. And that's why I'm so happy that I found shamanic training and shamanism in general, because this is exactly where this healing happens on that level as described. It's always a knowledge gap, mindset gap, and then the healing gap. And it really works on that healing gap. Yeah. You mentioned it also before that you also came to shamanism also partially through a breakup. Yeah. If somebody is going right now, because I'm talking about relationships, and obviously my work is about healing attachment styles and healing the heart in general, how can shamanism help us, or what is your experience like really to connecting back to our hearts and healing our hearts?
So the first thing that my shaman told me when I came to her with a broken heart is, I think she said something like, you don't have to suffer. Why do you choose suffering? And I was like, huh? I don't have to suffer? What? So understanding that in shamanism, we always have the perspective that you always have the power, you always have the answers, you always have the power of healing, and you already are healed. And for example, when you experience a broken heart, then you just forgot that you are this beautiful, radiant soul, which is always in her power and is always healed and always without suffering. And for someone in that heartbreak, yeah, it might sound like a little harsh saying, oh, you don't have to suffer, but just imagine that you can do a ritual or many rituals and you feel a difference. You feel that the wounds in your heart may be closed or are already gone because you did the real healing work. Then yeah, you don't have to suffer if you don't choose to. And a lot of the suffering that we create is because of our ego. The ego loves to go back and say, oh, see, you deserve that, and I saw it coming, and yeah, you will never find someone again, and he was the perfect one. No, there's a reason why it didn't work out, and the reason is because there's someone out there waiting for you. But by being in that heartbreak situation, this person cannot find you, but there's always a reason why things happen. And most of the time, like 99% of the time, is because there's someone out there that's a perfect match for you. So focus on that and try to not listen to your ego. Try to find strategies so you can silence your ego and really focus on, okay, now I'll heal my heart. I'll close the chapter. I cleanse off. I do the protection, for example, and I'm ready to move forward. And I feel like if you already have that intention, you're halfway there. I feel like understanding that the suffering is not because your heart is really mourning or sad, but it's most of the time just your ego telling you bad things that are not true. And I feel like if you see beyond that illusion of the ego, you're already halfway through it.
Yeah, what a beautiful saying. And I also experienced it for myself that every heartbreak in some way is like an initiation for a deeper spiritual work or deeper work on ourselves. And as you said, I love that you don't have to suffer. It's so many times like when we love someone and we create a deep connection with that person, and that person is gone out of our life for any reason because they could not just stay there because they had their own journey. I feel like a lot of time we try to demonize the person. Now on the internet, when we look, everybody is just talking about narcissism, about he's avoidant, she's anxious, and we could not keep putting the labels on people. And we cannot just see that we don't have to demonize this person. If it didn't work out, okay, you can set your own boundaries, you can continue with your own journey. And it's okay to grieve someone, it's okay to grieve that connection that you have, because the love is maybe still there, but you cannot be with that person. And it's okay just to let the time also clean the wounds and go on your path, still be there for yourself. That love that we carry in our hearts, it doesn't disappear. It just redirects itself to another person that you will meet in the future, or to your projects or your friends or whatever you are doing currently in life.
That is so true. And always try to stay in your power and try to see it as a possibility. Hey, what is this person trying to teach me? Like, why did I maybe had a soul contract with this person that needed to happen? Like, why did I as a soul chose this path, and that this person maybe hurt me or will break up with me? What was I initially thinking before I came to this earth, why it was important that it would need to happen for me? What is the learning for myself? And I feel like if you understand this magical little treasure of learning, then it won't happen again, because you already learned what you as a soul was trying to teach you as a human.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's always everything about learning, but it's really hard to understand that when you're in that pain and in that trauma.
100%.
So, Sophie, what was the one relationship that shaped your life the most?
Ooh, such a good question. And I can only answer with one relationship. That's a hard one. I feel like I would love to say my mom, my dad, right? But obviously, yes. But the one relationship that shaped me the most was my first heartbreak, like my real first heartbreak when I was 18, because it was my initiation into shamanism. So he was the reason why I was looking for alternative psychotherapies, like alternative ways of doing therapy. And that's when I ended up with my shaman. So I'm beyond grateful that this happened. I'm beyond grateful that my little soul chose that before she came to earth, because yeah, it was a start of everything that I have now, of the life that I live right now, of the business that I have created. I moved abroad. I found the love of my life. I have amazing friends. All of the things that I always wanted to have is because of this single breakup. And it was heartbreaking. It was devastating for me. But looking back, it held so much medicine, so much love, so much light, and so many beautiful learnings. And just, yeah, he was the one who brought me to my shaman and who made all of this life possible. So I'm just beyond grateful for him that he agreed to do that as souls before we came into this earth. So yeah, I would say my first really heartbreak.
And I hope that this will inspire some people or some women who are listening and maybe going now to a hard relationship or a breakup themselves, that they can know that, there is a chance in every pain. There is a chance to heal something and to understand something about ourselves.
100%. Our pain holds our medicine. Yeah. Always.
Perfect. Hey, thank you very much, Sophie, for being here. Thank you for being part of my journey and my life, also and supporting me with your medicine and my way. And for everybody who wants to connect with Sophie, I'm going to put her Instagram and her website underneath in the description box. So feel free to reach out. She's also doing a shamanic training that I'm also part of, which I can just recommend. So check it out. And yeah, listen to you soon. Bye. If today's conversation resonated with you, follow us on Instagram and connect with us there. The link is in the description. See you in the next one.